Hey guys, what's up? It's 8-Bit Eric, and this is Contra Anniversary Collection. This came out a couple weeks ago, and I haven't had the chance to talk about it. As a matter of fact, it came out during E3, during Nintendo's E3 Direct. It has 10 classic Contra games in one package. It's digital only, though, but I think it's cross-platform. It's available on Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch, and PC. So let's go ahead, take a look at what it's got and stuff, just to show you guys. I'm sure this being a couple weeks old, a lot of you guys have already bought it, but I bet there's still some people that are kind of on the fence. So we got Contra arcade version, 1987. We got Super Contra, 1988 arcade version. We got Contra on the NES, which came out in 88, and this is the one that I'm the most familiar with, you know, the one that I played the most growing up. I didn't see Contra Arcade or Super Contra too much as a kid, but I definitely have a lot of familiarity with Contra. With that said, doesn't mean I'm good at all. We also have the Famicom version of Contra, but I'm not exactly sure what the main difference is. If it's harder, there's more levels or anything like that, so that's interesting that we do have an option for the Famicom version. We also have Super C, which is the sequel, came out in 1990 on the NES. And then we have Contra 3 The Alien Wars, which is for the Super Nintendo, and to be honest, a lot of people think that is a very great sequel, like the best Contra that people ever recommended. I know I have a lot of friends that are fans of the Super Nintendo version, so that's neat. And then we also have Operation C, which was a Game Boy title on the Game Boy. And we also have Contra Hard Corps, which was the Sega Genesis version. So this is 5 years after Alien Wars. In the timeline or whatever, but Contra Hard Corps definitely is a pretty sought after Sega Genesis title, or Mega Drive, whatever you want to call it. And then we also have Super Pro Protector Alien Rebels, and this is the European version. I know Contra was something else over like in the European sections and stuff like that. It was called Pro Protector for whatever reason, I don't know. Then we also have Pro Protector on the Mega Drive in Europe. So there's two Pro Protector games. So seems to be a couple of the same games rehashed, like Contra and Contra on the Famicom and NES, and then Super C as well. And, you know, I get it. You know, Contra 3 Alien Wars and Pro Protector and stuff. Some people are like, technically it's only like 8 games instead of 10. Who knows? But either way, it does come with a pretty good assortment of Contra games. And we're going to go ahead and check out some of them. Let's go ahead and do where it all started, the arcade version. And just like all the other anniversary collections, there are a few samples and stuff. Look at this, classic arcade startup right here. Let's go ahead and begin. And just like all the other ones, there are these options and stuff, like for frames. You can set a different frame. Look at that. Look how awesome that looks. Having you know, the Contra looking alien and everything right there. So we're going to go ahead and start, and we're going to put some credits in so I could somewhat be alive for a while. And again, I'm not too familiar with the actual arcade version of Contra, but I can tell you that this looks like what I remember. It looks like it has some good old school style arcade graphics. The sound, freaking phenomenal, first of all. And then, of course, the sprites and everything. It's kind of slowing down, but I guess, you know, it is true to what the emulation is. And I think if you have the flip grip, you could even hold this vertically, if I'm not mistaken. But, oh wow, that level is a lot shorter than the NES version, I'll tell you that much. I do think the NES Contra definitely controls a little bit better than what the arcade version is. But don't quote me on that one if that upset you. Again, I'm not too familiar. How did I die just wrecking into the door? Come on. Alright, so here we go. End of the first level. Now we're going into the second segment. This is such an iconic area. It's a little bit different on the arcade version because it's kind of like more of a labyrinth. You got to kind of look at that map that's underneath where it says start on there and kind of see where you're supposed to go. There's like twisting paths and dead ends and stuff like that. So like right here, I got to go right. But for the most part, it does play the same. You just gotta watch out for the traps and everything that are laid out for you. Contra is such a classic series, by the way. Very classic. It doesn't mean I'm good at it, though. I'm familiar with Contra, but the arcade version, not so much. But I've always kind of had a challenge with Contra, and it's always been notorious for being one of the toughest NES games out there. So definitely, this was the arcade one. Let's go ahead and go back to the main menu and we'll just check out, just for giggles, you know what, S and giggles, we'll check out Super Contra real quick. And another one, this is what's cool about these compilations, is that it enables you to be able to play such a variety of different games on your Nintendo Switch that you wouldn't have, wow, really? That you wouldn't have ever gotten to really play before. So that is a good thing about playing these games. And it's like, wow, you know, I got 10 of these. I know people want Virtual Console. It's not coming out anytime soon. The NES Switch Online is what we have. And there's been a lot of companies lately tapping into that nostalgia with these compilations. You know, Capcom has them coming out. SNK's had them out. Konami's already had them come out. So there is a variety of different ways to play games on your Nintendo Switch and your PlayStation and all that with these compilations. Man, that was a lot of people. But definitely very cool game. Again, I'm not great at Contra, so forgive me. Don't get too triggered. Let's play the NES one. This is the one, again, that I remember the most growing up. Such an iconic title screen right there. My God. So these games cost about like 20 bucks or so. They are digital only, unfortunately, so you're not going to be getting these physically as of this video. Now that might change. Maybe 6 months from now, Konami will announce that these are coming out digitally, or maybe there'll be like a bundle with all of them all put on one physical pack. Who knows? Anything could happen this day and age. A lot of companies are double dipping. They don't reveal that they're doing physical versions until 6 months later, months later, or, you know, some of these limited run companies always do them. Now with Konami, I don't know if limited run will be doing anything like that. Oh my gosh. But there is always a possibility that if this game sold well enough to where it garnered interest, they might just do it. So here's hoping. I know a lot of you guys have been sitting on the fence in regards to picking this game up because it was digital only, but I do think for a digital only title, it still is more than well worth the price, because look at the variety of Contra games you're getting in one package, and I ain't gonna pick those things up. Screw that. You're getting almost all the great games. You know, in fact, almost all the games, all the retro games are on here, except with the exception of like Contra Force. That game ain't on here for whatever reason. I would have liked to have seen that be included, but it wasn't. I don't know if there was some kind of rights issue, since it technically wasn't a Contra game, or something like that. It would have been nice to see that, or seen some of the other Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games, but you can only do so many. Who knows? There might be a Contra Anniversary Collection too, so definitely worth taking a look at. Now let's go ahead and move on and see how the Game Boy one, just to show you guys. So I showed you an arcade version, showed you an NES version. Let's go ahead and check out the Game Boy one, just so you guys can see. There's some other ones, like I put dot matrix on. I have the dot matrix filter on, which makes it look like, you know, the old green and black screen, which is pretty cool. You know, and of course, this one plays a lot like a miniature version of Super C. And let's just to show you guys what you can do. Display settings. Each of these games have different display settings. So you can do like a color filter. You can see that's a color filter. Then there's also, coming back to display settings, oh, you can go to original. So you can do it like this. For me, I kind of like the way dot matrix looks, if I'm being completely honest. But you know, it's nice that there's a variety of different options and abilities. There's also load states and save states, so if you're not good, you can save your state, and it's emulated really well, I would like to say, for this game. So honestly, I do think the Contra Anniversary Collection, just like the other two Anniversary Collections for Konami, are more than well worth the price. I personally feel that, you know, Konami's doing good now. You know, it used to be where they were screwing up and everybody's like, screw Konami. But now it's like, damn, they just decided to start doing things right by us gamers. So I don't know. It's kind of like confusing. It's like being in a toxic relationship where your girlfriend kind of like treats you like dirt, but you know, she's good in bed. And I was just joking. But yeah, let's go ahead, check out the bonus book, because these do come out with some bonus books that show a lot of details and stuff. There's a bonus Japanese version of the book, you know, that show you stuff. And, oh no, actually, wow. I did not know there was these games. I'm literally discovering this as we come in. So there's more than what we just had. We got Contra Arcade, Japanese version, Super Contra on the NES, Contra Spirits on the Famicom, we got Contra on the Game Boy, we got Contra Hardcore's Japanese. So these are special Japanese versions, which is actually really interesting. I'm not sure what the difference could be. I'm not sure if anybody else that covered this is well aware of that, but that alone just opened up the gates for even more games, special Japanese versions. So we have American versions, we got European versions, we got the Famicom versions, we got all of that. So that's actually really neat. I'm not sure what the differences might be here, but it's cool that different versions of the games are included. So that just upped my recommendation, quite honestly. But back to the main menu. Let's go to that bonus book. So we'll go to the English versions again, and there's a bonus book down here. Let's go ahead and look at the bonus book. So these books are really cool. All of the anniversary collections have these. So it's like a book that shows you like information about each individual game, talks about it, stuff like that. And then eventually you start to see concept arts, history, interviews with like the programmers, developers, things like that. So very good. Like right here, Special Contra Interviewer, you know, the producer of numerous games in the Contra series. He talks about it right here. You know, lots of information. Like if you're a Konami enthusiast, if you're into like stuff like that, you could even like zoom in. You know, you could move the camera, you could zoom in, you could zoom out, you know, move it a little bit so you get a little bit closer of a view, stuff like that. You could switch the pages, you know. Contra timeline tells you about the history of it, the many weapons, stuff like that. So there is a lot of information, a lot of content in here. I think well worth your 20 bucks on the Nintendo Switch or whichever console you want to get. Some of the greatest games of all time, arcade versions, console versions, Japanese versions. So I do highly recommend that you check out the Contra Anniversary Collection because it just looks so iconic. It's an iconic series, and yeah, it's digital only, but I think it's well worth its price. And guys, that's it for today's video. If you're brand new, feel free to throw a subscription. Thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Consider supporting 8-Bit Eric on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. You want to become part of the hashtag 8BE Nation, guys? Well, be sure to pick up your official merch, now available online. Link is below in the description. We got classic t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and even women's apparel. Don't forget, pick up your official merch now. And while you're at it, guys, feel free to watch the next video, or why don't you catch up on one that you might have previously missed. Thanks again, guys, for all the support. I couldn't do this without you. You guys are amazing, and don't forget to subscribe and click that like button if you are brand new. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.